One.
Well, and there y'all go. Hello, hello, hello. Oh my goodness, it's been a minute. I want to jump right in, but I have to take a pause for the calls. First of all, welcome to the Legal Tea with Attorney Nix. I am your host, Attorney Nix, and it's my birthday. It's my birthday. It's 12:40 and it's my
Happy
birthday.
birthday.
January 26th.
It's
Hey,
your birthday.
January 26th. I just be
Happy
coming up with songs
birthday.
sometimes. It's my birthday.
Happy
It's my
birthday.
birthday.
Happy birthday! Happy birthday! Happy birthday to you!
Hey, boy, but it seems like I have missed so much in the news since your president, Donald Trump, was sworn into office and the transition took place and things of that sort. I want to talk about that, and the bulk of my conversation is going to be regarding issues surrounding that. And I do want to make sure that I treat the topic that I'm going to be talking about with delicacy and care.
Constitution crack, Fourth Amendment waiver, no Fifth Miranda savior, 11, 12, 13, not for hood dreams. Constitution waiver for niggerlings. Exercise your right, nigga be silent, remain silent. Anything you say that make you sign it. In that combo quick, make find it. Let them do their job, cause they don't sign it. Demand a lawyer, and if you gotta stay a few, don't get too friendly. Selling informants, they be snitching too. Your crew snitching too. Co-defendant snitching too. Loyal to who they start that juvie bull.
It is my birthday, and I think that when you start turning of a certain age, I don't know at what point it is that it hits you, but you just look at life differently. And for me, that time was during a pandemic, 2020, and knocked everybody down. And it caused a lot of us to reflect. So I started like really reflecting really since the pandemic. But now that I am my age, I am learning how to express gratitude, right? My expression of gratitude and gratefulness does come and is directed towards the Lord and Savior, my Jesus Christ. That's first of all, because he has preserved me as I reflect back over the years. Um, I don't know, I guess, and this is me being a little bit vulnerable, and this is going to directly tie into eventually what it is that I'm talking about. But, and I guess again, with the election and with Kamala losing and how this election was so high profile, I guess you start looking at the people who are running, and there's a slight of a relatability factor to them, right? And so with me, because of my journey as I reflect back on my birthday, with my journey to becoming a lawyer, and this year we'll be celebrating 10 years in business. Like, whoa, I'm so grateful. I'm so gratitude. I am grateful. It's not an emotion, it's a state of being. And learning how to think from that perspective, I think, can help sometimes when you get stuck or you're at a point in your journey where you hit a brick wall. Sometimes is learning how to just be grateful. So as I reflect on my 42nd birthday, I am grateful, where God has taken me, um, and basically with me, and looking out at, I guess, the ability to connect with people. So I look at Kamala, and like I said, it was just hard to connect with her. So as I look past my 42 years, I look at the time in which the journey to becoming a lawyer. So I don't know, a lot of you guys probably don't know me or whatever have you, but I became a lawyer later on in life. I went to law school later on in life. So prior to that, just like some of the audiences that Kamala, I guess, was trying to reach, there's a level of hardship and school of hard knocks that, I had to go through in order to get to where God has placed me at today. So first of all, like talking about connection with TikTok, it was shut down because people are dumb who just get their moves from TikTok, but it shut down, and that's a form of, I guess, connection that people had with TikTok, and I was sort of glad that it shut down. But with me not being able to connect, I guess, with some people on top TikTok world and even with Kamala. Like I grew up in the 90s when crack bows was on the playground. I know me and my husband was talking about this the other day. I'm talking about like orange bows, blue bows, like so when you talk about TikTok's about to shut down, it's just like, okay, yay. So to me, it's interesting with some of these new modern world theories with kids getting bullied online and all of that stuff. And you can't say this because if you say this, you're gonna offend this group, and you'll offend this group if you holler this or if you say this letter wrong. Like everything is like flagged, just like off limits and so controversial. But TikTok is that generation of people who have just identified so heavily with the internet and internet culture and internet content. So everything nowadays is about making content and all of this stuff and the content and the bonnet and the bonnet.
You just have to have silent time.
I mean, all of this internet culture is just different. So I know my husband, he said the other day, he is the president of the ONN on. What that stand for?
Old Ninja Nation.
Old Ninja Nation. Like it's just don't relate. Right? Cause it's like people on TikTok and then also like even Kamala, the elitists, they don't understand the trenches, right? So we always talk about that as it relates to our kids, because it's like, damn, he was not raised like that. Y'all are smashed off, right? But it's just like I just don't they just don't understand the trenches and the school of hard knocks. I don't think. And as a black wife, mother of five, I mean, I worked during the recession. I don't know who remembers that or who remembers working in the conditions of the market when, during the recession. I started with the Georgia Department of Disability as a disability associate. We had like 30 people in our class. They started off everybody, and this was in 2009, 10-ish. They started off everybody with $30,000 a year. There was straight two lawyers, full blown lawyers, fully admitted and everything, working at that time, and they started everybody off at $30,000 per year. You had to take tests every 3 months in order to like keep your job, and these were not just like tests. You had to know the laws, the different disability. You had to know so much stuff, in order to, or information in order to keep your job. And if you didn't, get a certain score on that section after that 3 month period when you took the test, you were out of there. And they did this like there was a 3 month mark, and you had 6 month mark, and then they came back and said, "Oh, we're gonna add another mark." Like they was not playing. Like $30,000 a year, and that's not without health insurance coming out. That's not without taxes coming out. People getting fired. Like your brakes are money. Like people don't understand that. Like especially these kids nowadays. I just don't think that like disability that's not my ministry. Now I can help you and give you general information because I do know like, okay, what RFCs are. I do know your ADLs. There's certain things that I know, like, okay, from practicing that, and then also, being a disability adjudicator. Just like with personal injury is very hand in hand when it comes to the impacts on the body after you've been in an accident that wasn't your own, or if you were in a premises liability type situation where it's a slip and fall. Like I understand the medical terminology, the bills, blah 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 blah. But disability, dealing with that personal, deep, everyday, not every day, but personal, deep connection where you're going through these people's medical bills, or medical records. You're trying to you fight for something for money that you would, sometimes have to wait years upon or for. So that's just not my ministry, right? But I said this to say that um, we live life, right? We know what it feels like to come outside in your car going. Like, we not the only black. Like, I'm just saying, we know what evictions feel like and look like. We know, we experienced the death of our child earlier on in, our relationship. So we dealt with so many different issues that the common American has dealt with, so it's sometimes hard to relate to that elitist population, and then also, the modern generation. It's just like, so sometimes it's difficult for me to even forge new relationships and things of that sort, even as an attorney, because everybody that I meet, and it was just interesting. The other day I was on my first appearance, and you are able to speak with the judges, the magistrate judges, and things of that sort beforehand in preparation for the hearing. And so when you hear about, even with the attorneys and again the judges, oh, they have, the white folks sometimes they don't throw out to show you that they have money. Sometimes they don't do it directly like, oh, I have money, but they might say, oh, I have a farm and I'm a commercial this, or I'm a, it's certain little shit, and it's like, oh, okay. But still, like, I think that what it is that we went through is beautiful. Like, God, the scriptures talk about God giving beauty for ashes. So even though my colleagues or other people may come from a different background, they didn't go to law school later on in life. They went straight through, and they come from the stereotypical background that we always hear about and things of that sort. I feel like our experiences and my experience and what it is that I experienced in life, it just helps me to become a better lawyer and be able to connect with people and be able to really truly understand. I mean, I've heard cases really, and this is real talk, where because of the fact that it was such a cultural disconnect between the attorney and the client, they can't understand culturally sometimes. I mean, and at the end of the day, the question is, they do a good job for your case, and I get that, that's important. But then you also, when I speak sometimes with my clients, they feel like, they don't, they're getting from their attorney sometimes an elitist type of thing where they can't, not a cultural connection where understanding what it is that they say or what it is that they mean, because certain dialects of ours, is very specific to a certain region and certain words. When you say fitna go or fitna, or certain things that we say in our language and that vocabulary that, oh, you the bomb. And that's an old school one, the bomb. Because I remember when we first started saying that, they was like, what? Like second words and things that we said, and people didn't understand until it just, caught on and they started using it. But at any rate, that's not why I was even talking about it. I was just talking about like just what it is that I went through, and having a appreciation, I guess, of the dedication and the work that it does have, to where I am 10 years in business and being able to appreciate my path and my journey with going to law school with children, married, with, I think I was what, 28, 29 when I went to law school. So like, whoa. And 10 years just passed like that, you know? It was just crazy. But anyway,
The Legal Tea with Attorney Nix.
so yeah, how the prior to the lawyer life looked like and how the road to the 10-year anniversary in life looks like. 10 years in business as a solo practitioner with a family, and just, I mean, that just looks like it just looks, you can't even imagine. But my God is so good and I am grateful. um 20 years in marriage with the most beautiful partner. and he did not ask us. He is such a good, genuine heart. And our covenant goes beyond partnership and business. Like, my husband has been like literally my day one. And to me, it's so sad to show and how we as a community have become so anti-marriage. We didn't have the proper tools of how marriage looked before we got married. Like, we was mad young. We had, a child not too long, maybe some months after we got married. Yes, I was an unwed mother. I got pregnant out of wedlock. That's what they said. I was sinning. We were shacking. We were shacking. Shacking, dacking, dacking. Yes. But
Allegedly.
oh gosh. Anyway, no, we were shacking because I'm a party to the witness. I'm a party to a three witness. No, but listen, okay, we got pregnant. Oh, I got pregnant out of wedlock. But what the devil intends for evil, God will take it and turn it for his good and for our good, right? So here we are almost 20 years later, and I am proud to say, and I say it with my full chest, that like nothing at all. It took my husband and I to get to where it is that we are today. It's not anything that I carried on my back or I did this and I did that. And whoever told us that marriage is going to look like something that we see on TV or some movie that we was looking at when we was a kids is a lie. Nobody cannot prepare you for marriage. And it's unfortunate that today we are just like a quit society. Like, and I feel as if you have to really be tested, really, in your relationship. There has to be some type of test. But, I really shout out to my husband. He is just, again, a beautiful person. I understand when someone says, like, them old people be like, I would not want to have married anyone else but you. Or, them old people be saying. That's the truth, though, right?
Thank you. And will you be happy, Charlotte?
Oh, Jerry, don't let's ask for the moon. We have the stars.
So that is basically, my testimony for the birthday and my birthday. All right. And it's about surviving the trenches and, understanding what the trenches look like, what our current administration doesn't, what Kamala didn't. Obama, he sort of did, but because he worked as an activist while he was, before his presidency. But as a person working in the trenches, who came up in the trenches and who is now an attorney. So I'm looking at stuff from a whole different perspective now. It's like I got my hood lens on and it was cultivated. And, we in South Central, I'm in Harlem, I'm in Brooksville, and I'm in, like, I have that perspective as a real live person before a lawyer. Then I get and I'm a lawyer, and now, you sitting with damn, like, big people. Like, you exposed to some stuff when you litigate. You exposed to policy. You exposed to how company culture operates. You are exposed to so much the laws that allow, for certain actors to act the way they do, government actors. You are exposed to so much. So the way that you think about things may just be a little bit differently. It's mixed with your experiences as a mother, as a wife, as a regular citizen, as an everyday person. And then in the trenches, not just, oh, I had a house and I went to college and me and my husband, your character is tested in the struggle. That's what I feel like. Like, your character is tested in the struggle. It really is. Like, what you going to do when you come across this situation that may be life or death, or it determines whether or not your family is going to eat, or, what. So you have that experience, and then you have this experience as a lawyer. You have the experience as you in Albany, Georgia, in the hood, living there, interacting with the, with the prostitutes, whoever the undercast of society that America exposed us or tried to expose us to be. You see this. You see root causes of poverty, generational poverty. It's so much it is that I was exposed to. So when I say what it is that I'm about to say later on in this episode, it's not just because, oh, I have something against a certain group or a certain community. No, it's because of the fact that there's certain experiences that I've had in my life with different people of different communities prior to being an attorney and then after. And then looking at the research, looking at the case law, using foreseeability and issues of foreseeability. This is all, what my reasoning and things of that sort is based on later on. And so I guess I'm gonna leave y'all in a little bit of suspense about the topic, but one of the things that I did learn from one of the events, and I'm not saying I'm this master strategist like this, or a master organizer, and I know all of the rules and I know how to do this. I know there are people who are really out there doing it, like Tamika Mallory. Like, she is really out there organizing. There are other organizers who are on the boots on the ground. But at that time, I wanted to learn and, become more aware about organizing and what it looked like for that area. And one of the things I learned is, if you don't have money resources, then the next thing, or maybe even the best thing, is people resources. And so again, y'all, my peoples. People resources is where I am now, and part of why I'm doing this YouTube thing anyway too. So the reason why I'm saying this is, again, you are able to look at certain administrations, Kamala and Trump and Obama, and compare, even, and this is on of course on the national scale, and but you of course will do the same thing with your local representatives. But who is it that have been in the trenches? Like, that is my thing. Like, and Obama, I feel like he did a little bit connect with our community, because number one, I think everybody was like, dang, he married like a real live Black woman. And we knew he could have went and married someone that was white and, had it potentially easier in a sense. But he married a Black woman, and he did organize earlier, even prior to his presidency, right? But I wanted to see Kamala in the Kroger's talking to people, at the corner stores talking to people. I wanted to see Kamala in these smaller towns, right? Because that is where a lot of poverty resides, where, again, it's in the rural towns outside of the big cities, and sometimes are not near the major cities. Not to say that, for example, in Atlanta, there's a high poverty rate, because there is. I mean, you go to Atlanta, you literally sometimes have to walk across, like, people who are unhoused. Like, there are homeless people just scattering all over, like, the downtown, right? That church right across from the main courthouse. Like, and I park right there next to that church too. I don't care if I have to go downtown. Be like, hey, but y'all my peoples too, right? Those are my people. The unhoused people is my people too. Like, for real. I want, like, for real. And I don't know, there's a stigma attached with homeless people and things of that sort, but man, golly, there should be something that Atlanta can do about it. They're trying to plan to build, I don't know what the heck he's doing, the mayor is doing. I think it's some type of housing or shack, and it's not a shack, with a storage container housing or whatever he's doing. I don't know.
The Rapid Housing Initiatives gives $4 million to local nonprofits. The money will pay to renovate shipping containers into new homes.
But I just know that even though he's saying he's doing this, I still go to court all the time down there, and I see people you see some interesting things at that church, and everybody know what I'm talking about. I don't know the name of the church, but anyway, you don't see them elected officials in the fields or in the trenches, then you don't get my vote. That's period. And I'm ready to cuss a ninja out in the name of Jesus, who tries to down me for not voting for Kamala. Yes, I said it, and I admitted it. I did not vote for Kamala.
Wait, pause.
I didn't vote for Kamala.
Wait, pause.
That's breaking news.
Wait, pause. Pause.
The Legal Tea with Attorney Nix.
Yes, I did.
You didn't put that in the note.
I'll show you.
You didn't put that in the note.
Go to a camera scene C or camera 2. I did. It is. Go back. It's too much. Kamala. I did not vote for her, and I did not vote for Trump. And again, I lived in trenches in my adult life. I went through real life, and then so I have a front row to the legal system, the policies, and what is felt in our community because I went through real life, and I practiced for 10 years in criminal law and employment law, which is foundationally constitutional, right? And I see how these organizations play that I have sued. Like, I see how they won. I see, like, what is of interest in our community. And I don't feel that Kamala was, period. And you can't tell me that Kamala was for me in the real working class. You just couldn't.
But he does not walk the walk. Or as my friend Quavo would say, he does not walk it like he talks it.
Anyway, I just need to understand, like, what these folks' plans are that are going to assist in building wealth for our community while we collectively and strategically come together to find out the policies that will work for our community and what policies don't work for us. And so it's a lot of things that I feel like the Democrats are pushing that are directly and historically against what has shown to be beneficial for Black people, and that is the togetherness of the Black family. And that, what you gonna say?
I think you should lay out your political voting history. Someone might assume was previously a Republican or something.
Not at all. Okay, thank you, producer. Produced. That's what I'm gonna call you. Produced. Not at all. Was never a Republican. I'm not a Republican. And I'll tell y'all who I voted for. And I wish I could have showed y'all the text that my sister sent me. I voted along party lines all the time because my thinking at one point in time was just like, oh, they're the Democrats. And I was looking at traditionally, like, what happened with the Democrats and, oh, they're for the underclass and they're for us and da. Like, I really got lost in the sauce and was just a diehard Democrat. But I think after we had children and after, again, like, just with seeing these laws and things, that it just changed my experience, my viewpoint as far as some of the policies that were impacting us. The founding community of America, which I feel is the Black American community. Like, I feel like I'm just as patriotic as any other person because I see the blood, sweat, and tears of Willie James Curry, Viney Gardner, I see the contributions that my ancestors, from generations ago up until now, like, I see what and how my ancestors poured into this. If you're gonna call anybody a patriot, you better call a Black American patriot. You better call those people of Rosewood patriots. Those people from Tulsa patriots. Those people from, like, it's so many things that we're finding out now. So when you talk about patriots, I feel like Black people need to take that word back. Okay. But at the end of the day, I can proudly say that I did not vote for Trump, nor did I vote for Kamala. I voted for Cornel West. There, I said it, and I'm proud that I said it. Everyone said that Kamala was the most qualified candidate to do the job. I believe the first portion is true. Kamala was qualified, but what job though? Like, what job was she finna do that was gonna help us? But I'm sorry, but a candidate, they just have to earn my vote, and Cornel West earned my vote. Okay, I'm not voting for the Democrat Party out of loyalty, but at the end of the day, I don't care about who is in office because I know a God who is the highest officer of the land. And as long as God is good, I'm good and we good, right? But this is a good time to transition. Okay, so he birthing me, all that stuff. God is
Wait.
good. I'm grateful. Now let's talk about your president. Yes.
I want to confirm that's not Kanye West. You didn't vote for Kanye West.
No, I did not. Cornell West. My sister said I might as well voted for Waldo. She ain't mad. My sister is so mad at me. You voted for who? I was thinking deep about it. I took a deep breath when I was at the bar. I was like, the lady was like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm just trying to like, any, many, money, mo." But anyway, good time to transition. Let's talk about your president. Okay. And I guess some of y'all saying, "Our president, you the one who voted for Cornell." That's how we got y'all president. But anyway, anyway, the current president is a very unpredictable person, right? I really do believe that we as a community need to stop expecting a bailout from the government, period. I'm not saying that you don't strategically organize to execute an agenda, but we need to go back to the basics in some aspects, right? Because your president, not only did he sign an executive order canceling these DEI programs, and that subject is very sensitive and is passionate and it deserves a separate episode within itself. But he also he defined sex as what a male is and what a female is, right? So I sort of want to, I don't know if I'm going to necessarily put these things in order, but so he came into office, right? I think he came into office on 1920. And there were two things that stood out to me. First, we're going to talk about that inauguration service, right? So my take on this, you must speak truth to power. But spoken from God's word, spoken from God's word, I can't even say it. Why not talk? Spoken from God's word and not your mouth, right?
And as you told the nation yesterday, you have felt the providential hand of a loving God. In the name of our God, I ask you to have mercy upon the people in our country who are scared now. There are gay, lesbian, and transgender children in Democratic, Republican, and independent families, some who fear for their lives. And the people who pick our crops and clean our office buildings, who labor in poultry farms and meatpacking plants, who wash the dishes after we eat in restaurants and work the night shifts in hospitals, they may not be citizens or have the proper documentation, but the vast majority of immigrants are not criminals. They pay taxes and are good neighbors. They are faithful members of our churches and mosques, synagogues, wadara, and temples.
Okay. But again, it sort of threw me off because, again, I just told you about some of the issues that we as a community have just historically faced and still have faced. We couldn't even get an anti-lynching bill passed, and that would have been in benefit of us. That's just one bill. We're not even talking about money. We're talking about human lives here, right? We're not talking about, Black people needing hormones to live and not be shot by the police. We're talking about the value of a human life at this point. And then so I have that in this bucket. And then what I look at is all of these hot button issues. And it's like, well, dang, what about us? And so, and this is one of the things, again, where I divert from the hardcore Democrats, because what I see is a lot of our Democratic leaders, yes, some of them are pushing, agendas with regards to police brutality and things of that sort, but they really going hard on some of these other issues. And I'm like, wait a minute. At one point in time, our focus and life's work during the golden era of the civil rights movement was in benefit to us. It wasn't a lot of all of these throwaway classes and groups and issues that we worked alongside. Not to say that, oh, gay issues or LGBTQ issues aren't important, but what I learned even with the history of Stonewall, because I said, well, let me educate myself. Like, it was a whole full riot. Like, gays was being beat up. They was getting like, and that's not cool. Again, it's a human rights issue. So when it comes to rights, I look at issues as far as human rights issue. And to me, it's an important, critical human rights issue that a transgender child has the ability to take gender affirming hormones. That issue is no, and I'll tell you why. I'm not just basing it on my personal opinion, but again based on not just my experience, but again looking at policy and foreseeability and the law. And that is one of the things that I sort of want to dive into, because again, Trump signed an executive order directly impacting trans people and trans children, right? um but that advocacy for that particular group for non-human rights issues, that's not my ministry. I'm just telling y'all right now. I could sit down, and I said that before. I didn't say it before, I'm saying it now. Like, it would have been cool to have a trans person on the platform, someone who detransitioned, pastor, different people from different backgrounds, surrounding this issue, and to have a dialogue with them. um so that again, to treat this topic very delicately, because at the end of the day, people are humans and this is a real live person. But it's just certain issues that I feel are more important and pressing in my viewpoint than the ability for children to get gender affirming hormones. That's number one. I'm not scared to have tough conversations and foster dialogue amongst people that don't look like us. And again, I welcome people from all walks of life on this platform. So just send your information if you would like to be on a guest or propose a topic or whatever have you. Like, I don't even care. I have like maybe 17, 18 subscribers on YouTube, 200 some odd subscribers on or followers on Instagram, and I'm cool, right? Because you want to have the right audience too. I don't care that to be popular or to be what's hot right now or what's trending. I don't care about that, right? My interest is my community, period. And again, using my experience to be able to welcome different people from all walks of life on the platform and to educate, learn, and all that other good stuff, right? Um, So, but what I am qualified to do is to analyze this whole transgender issue from a legal perspective. Like, what is the order means that Donald Trump signed, and how will the Supreme Court analyze some of these issues? Because there's a pending case out of Tennessee right now. I think it's the sixth district, where this very issue that I'm talking about right now is at play here. And like, I low key fell in love with con law again. Like, literally yesterday, I'm reading transcripts. I'm listening to the oral arguments. I'm like, oh wow! Like, I didn't go to bed until like 1:30, 2 o'clock, and I have some of the oral transcripts, the oral arguments. I think it's better to hear it rather than to read it. Me, I like interacting and reading, but to hear it, it's just like, wow, it just really sheds light into the questionings that was thrown out by the Supreme Court justices, and the different issues that this touches. It was just so interesting to me. But I'm gonna try not to bore you. It's officially 1:54 on my birthday, and I want to sort of try to not move this along, but just break it down to where it's relevant and y'all can understand what's going on and why it's important, right? So let's talk about transgender youth, right? So the first national publication to feature a kid or a transgender girl, yeah, who wanted to live as a girl, it was Avery Jackson. You remember that? It was on the National Geographic in 2017. And here it is. Years after her trans child nod made victory as the pink-haired National Geographic cover model, Mom Debbie Jackson looks back. We were at a great place in the country. And there's the little kid right here. And so that was the real first time, like, on a national scale where I was like, "Oh, okay, Avery. Like, what's going on?" Because 17 week, our kids were still little, right? So it was like, okay, she's 9 years old. And then when social media really hit, because in 17, social media was lit. And that's where you had like the YouTubers who really are probably like really, making a living and earning a living now is probably around the time that they started getting serious or was building their audience. But 2017, 18, following that, especially during the pandemic, social media hit hard, right? And then all of a sudden, we see there's a lot of these little kids coming out. I'm talking about as young as 9 years old, talking about they're trans. Okay. So, as a parent of 5 natural born children, I'm thinking what it is when a kid that's 9 years old start thinking about their sexuality. When I know when I was 9, we was not thinking about no sexuality. 9, 10, 11, we wasn't. I mean, you go, oh, this little boy, you got to cry. But not to nothing like that. Like, not where it's just like, ooh, like I think I'm this, or trying to identify a sexual preference based on your understanding, your kiddie understanding of the world at that time. Like, no, right? I personally believe that our priorities as parents sometimes miss the mark. I've been guilty of it, and I think that some other people have been guilty of it as well. Like, who and what is your child being influenced by on these platforms? Right? And I'm talking about especially the kids that come out trans like in elementary school. And this is just personally speaking again. Like, and if maybe somebody was here and their parent was here, maybe I can ask them that question, but they're not. But that's a question I really want to understand. Like, why is it so important for you at 9 or 10 years old to focus on your sexuality and not your education or becoming who it is that you want to be? Like, I think that that's something where later on, maybe during your high school years, is something you may start exploring or having questions about. But like 9 and 10 and 11 and 12 years old and getting surgeries to to have your breast take removed and all, and there's kids who did this at 14, 15 years old. So I'm not just saying like gender correcting surgeries or ever just to say put an age out there. No, they are prescribing hormones for children as young as 9 or 10 years old to prevent them from becoming this or developing characteristics of their sex that they were born. And I'm not going to even say assigned at birth, but that's a proper word. I'm like, assigned at birth? What do you mean? Like, what do you mean you're assigned? The way that you were biologically born is what I'm going to say. And the reason why I say this again is because I'm looking at the research, I'm looking at the statistics that were relied on and that are relied on when arguments to the Supreme Court are being made for and against some of the issues surrounding trans youth and gender affirming treatment. And some of these battles are fought publicly. But I just wanted to sort of help y'all to understand the legal landscape surrounding those issues, right? Because again, like I said, we've seen on social media a heavy increase of transgender youth. We see that there are fights now being fought about whether or not transgenders and transgender youth should be able to use the bathroom of the sex that they identify with. Like, but they would say, oh, is that hateful? Like, that's something else too, where they be like, oh, this hateful language or this hate violence. No, they don't say hateful. When you don't agree with some of the terminology, or if you misgender someone, then I hear now where oh, that's violent language. Like, what do you mean? Like that type of stuff, that's where it's like, we're gonna have to agree to disagree, and I'm gonna keep using violent language because you're not gonna make me shut up or skirt around the issue if I have direct questions, period. Like, don't do that. And that's the problem. People don't wanna like really make sense and use logic sometimes. But okay, anyway. So what Trump did, he cited an executive order defining sex. So what I'm gonna do is we're gonna take you to ACLU's website, because I did look at this article from ACLU, and it's called Trump's Executive Orders Promoting Sex Discrimination Explained, right? So, what does the order say? It is the policy of the United States to recognize two sexes, male and female. These sexes are not changeable and are grounded in fundamental and incontrovertible reality. The order defines terms like man and woman based on whether a person at conception belongs to the sex that produces the large reproductive cell or that produces the small reproductive cell. He went into deep, like he was like, y'all are not going to confuse what a man and a woman is after I sign this executive order, okay? So he directs federal agencies. This is very important because a lot of people are tripping, like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna move to another state and da 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 da. I don't know what I'm gonna do. It directs federal agencies to enforce laws governing sex-based rights, protections, opportunities, and accommodations using his cramped definitions. Okay, basically that's what it is. He defines what a girl is and what a boy is. Okay, but the executive order, it doesn't change the policy immediately, and they cannot change laws passed by Congress or protections guaranteed by the Constitution. Remember that. As of January 21st, 2025, it is unclear how he will enforce this order as applied to educational settings. So, y'all, people who are going to college, this is something that may impact you, but again, y'all of that TikTok generation, and I think that generally speaking, the younger generations are maybe okay with this, depending on, what part of America we're in. But I would just say, generally speaking, I suspect that if it doesn't take effect in any type of colleges or anything of that sort, they would be welcome, okay? Because the kids nowadays are very welcoming, which is good, but okay. Let me see. Healthcare access, housing, federally funded programs, and many other areas where federal law or policy references sex or gender. Okay. So some of the most immediate impacts will be felt by more than 2,000 transgender people currently held in federal custody. And you know why? Because of the fact that they are going to order a transgender woman into men's prisons and detention centers against their will. This puts them at a severely heightened risk of sexual assault and abuse by other incarcerated persons and prison staff. The order also mandates that BOP withdraw critical health care from trans people in federal prison. This includes gender affirming care. So some folks in prison that are transgender, the government has to pay for their care, their gender affirming care. Okay. So that is a snapshot of it. And remember I said that, like, you have cases. There's a case right now out of the 6th district out of Tennessee where it is currently being heard and is directly on point and relevant to this particular order, right? Because there's some states and some people who believe that sex should be defined as, it originally and traditionally has been understood, which is a boy who has male reproductive organs and a female who has female representative organs, and not any outliers. People be like, oh, there's people who has a penis and a vagina, and what about those people who in other cultures their spirit, what do they call it, their spirit, what is the word for it, their spirit something, I can't think of the name of it. They basically don't have a gender, and like there's some people who say sex is a boy and a girl, nigga. Like, nigga, this is what it was, this is what it is, and this is how it should be, right? Don't come over here with all this foolishness, right? But it's some people who say, oh, you can be a cat, you can be a dog, you could be a furry if you want to, you could be whoever it is that you want to be and however you want to identify, because love is love, and we're going to be in peace and harmony, and we're going to have the blacks and the whites and the gays and the Hispanics and everybody. It's just going to be love, and we're not going to have any police and like. And that's the idea of the far left, but I'm just saying this harmonic society where you can just be and self-identify with what you want to be with. That's a hard stop for me. But anyway, let me roll it down a little bit more as far and get into it. I'm gonna try to hold. That's it. I put it here too. I said I'm gonna hold my opinion on what I'm gonna hold my opinion base in emotionally charged conversations based on a majority perspective. But so I'm saying here that I'm trying not to put my opinion in, but it's hard not to, right? Um, but it would appear based on media reports and the bishop's request to the president that his decision is unpopular, right? So it doesn't appear though at some aspect that it's not unpopular because again, Trump was still in office and he was elected. But again, this case that I was telling you about, what? Not even close. What? Not even close. Oh yeah, this case pending out of Tennessee because you the only 10 I see. You the only 10 I see. That was a little corn right there. You supposed to. Okay, it will heavily cites a case out of the 11th district, which says that you can't be turning down folks. What's the name of the case? I'll send you the little thing because I don't know the name of the case off the top of my head, and it's 207. But basically, you can't be discriminating and telling people that they can't work for your company because they transgender. I agree. You can't do that. Right? But the basic legal issue in this particular case with Tennessee is whether or not Tennessee's newly enacted law, which discriminatory, which is discriminate and it legally classifies a ban on gender affirming treatment based on sex. So is this newly enacted law discriminatory on its face? The name of the bill is Tennessee Senate Bill SB 1. It prohibits all medical treatments intended to allow a minor to identify with or live as a purported identity inconsistent with the minor's sex or to treat purported discomfort or distress from a discordance between the minor's sex and asserted identity. Does it violate the Equal Protection Clause of the 14th Amendment? So that's basically the question, right? If Tennessee, and this is at the U.S. Supreme Court now, which means that if it's ruled in favor of the petitioner, which are the trans youth and their representatives and parents, then that means that it's a law of the land. That means that kids all over the place can have gender affirming care regardless of regardless of their sex and their youth and their parents. They can provide this care for them. But right now it's paused. You cannot get gender affirming care for you who are transgender at this point, right? Whoopee. But anyway, this was good though. Like it really was good, and I really can't wait to start like seeing what you guys are saying. I don't care about ignorant ninjas. Like I really don't. And people just be saying stuff again, like I don't care. You can say whatever it is. You can say the weave is bad, your makeup. I don't care about that stuff because like I'm not motivated by people's comments, but what they do for our community and the work and your character and your integrity and not your bag. So this built a little bit different, not like us. But anyway, y'all please share this. Please like it. www.llrnix.com. If you got a personal injury case, let me know. Select 1983 cases, let me know. We're a boutique law firm, and so we do hand select our cases. I do not work for free. I'm sorry, that's not my ministry. I've done a lot of free service on my way coming up here, and that's not my ministry anymore. We need these dollars. We need these dollars right now. And we really trying to do good in this community out here, man. Like, and I'm adopting a community now. I'm adopting a community because we're not in Albany, Georgia anymore, but we want to do the work in these streets. So we need the funds to do that. So I don't have a donation button yet because I don't have enough followers and subscribers, but I'm not asking for money though. But as far as resources, like if you interested in a job with the firm, like send me your resume. But anyway, folks, until next time, I will see you on Attorney Nix, and we'll talk with you later.
Exercise your right, nigga, be silent, remain silent. Anything you say that make you sign it.